Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rifts Coalition Manhunters. A lot of you have wanted this book to be on this show, and I get it. Now that I've read it, I understand there's some really cool things in here, and there are some things that do not belong in the player's hands and only belong in the safety, the relative safety of the coalition. That's right. Just like a lot of other books that Kevin Zambita has put out for Rifts, this is pure human propaganda, and it's beautiful. And we're going to look at it right now.
Now, I'm going to say something to Heathen Doug that he probably doesn't want me to say, but I'm going to bring it up right now. Like whether it's comments on YouTube videos or it was all over Discord or whatever, everybody wants to know about the psionics of that are in this book. But before you say anything on that, I can tell you that at least the information you gave me, the 3 segments that we have, none of them included psionics.
No, because psionics are not the most important part of this book. The most important parts of this book is the way and the idea and the methods that the coalition go through to not only keep their populace from imploding, but to protect it from outside forces. That's what this book is about. Now, during the segment 3 with the o.c.cs, when I go more in depth into some of the o.c.cs that are introduced here, I will have to go through a lot of the psionic powers. There are some that are really cool that I'm going to touch on, but if your favorite isn't mentioned, I'm sorry. There's just a lot of brand new psionic powers in this book, and I don't have time to go over them all. So there's that. But this is the introductory portion. So we're going to talk about exactly what the PsyOps division does and what the thought police is. And guess what? It's just folk. 90% of the thought police are people reporting on their neighbors.
See something, say something.
Exactly. See something, say something. It works now. It's going to work in the post-apocalyptic future. So let's move on to that right now. And we are going to go to page 9. This right here is DB propaganda. So I got to get it out of the way. Bad guys never see themselves as evil. It's human nature. With the exception of the evil supernatural beings, the occasional maniacal, whatever, bad guys see themselves as a hero. They're bold, cunning, resourceful, driven, and plethora of other virtues, not ruthless, treacherous, cruel, or evil. So it is with the CS Manhunters. I disagree. Only reason I disagree is because the book disagrees with that statement. Later on in the book, it contradicts everything that this statement is. The CS Manhunters are not evil. They are not an evil assassin squad. Killing people is part of their job, but guess what? Part of the job of a CIA agent is killing people too. That's not their main job.
I don't know. I'm not sure that's a good example. I know a lot of people out there. Yeah, the CIA is evil.
No, you can think that if you want, but assassination is the least of the CIA's job. Just like the CIA, the Manhunter's job is to the PsyOps division. Their job is to be able to find threats, categorize them, and then use appropriate measures to deal with them to save the whole of a community, which is exactly what the CIA is supposed to do. Exactly the same thing. Sometimes you got to kill folk, but most times you don't. Okay, there you go. So I wanted to get through that, the idea that that just because they're secret agents doesn't mean they're evil, but everyone can do evil things. And the Psi division themselves are not technically evil because there's so many safeguards. The PsyOp division right here. The coalition states operate under a monolithic and brutal dictatorship that's subjective, cloaked in patriotism and lies, actual patriotism, fueled by human supremacy, which is true, and fear, which is Rift's world, is fear. If you're a human being with no powers, you live in fear every day because now you live in Rifts. The beloved Emperor Prosek, his son, Joseph II and the leadership that serves them have been so skillful at building a foundation of trust, loyalty, and patriotism that most citizens rankle at the slightest suggestion that they live under a dictatorship or that they are cold-hearted people out of touch with the rest of the world. No, they do live under a dictatorship. If you are a normal human being, it is a benevolent dictatorship. I'm sorry. You want to look up the definition? Go ahead. The coalition states is set up to protect normal human beings.
That's so what about all the rules? I guess I don't know a lot of the rules because I don't pay attention. But there's the big one, like you're not allowed to be literate.
Okay, yeah. Reading is not necessary. So unnecessary things, there's no reason for them. This is a post-apocalyptic world where we're fighting for survival every day. Unnecessary things need to go to the wayside. That's the thought behind this. Now, do I agree with that? Personally, no. Do I understand it? Oh, hell yeah. Keep unnecessary thoughts and ideas from your citizens because any one of them could disrupt the whole to a point where it could start dominoes falling to crash an entire city, state, or even civilization.
How very North Korea of you.
Yeah, I get it. Now, I've been talking up this whole psyops thing. The reason I've been talking it up is because there's so many levels of control with this psyops division and this thought police idea. Yes, there are thought police. Yes, there are people spying on you. But just because one spy says you're a bad guy doesn't mean you are instantly have a black bag over your head and you're taken to an unknown site somewhere and tortured forever. No.
So this isn't Salem witch trials?
No. It has to go through so many levels of administration before action is taken place to make sure that this is an actual threat or it's just kids being kids or someone just having a dumb idea and not being able to do anything with it.
Are there any repercussions for false accusations?
The first couple, no, because most accusations come from your fellow citizens. So your fellow citizens are not trained to see real threat from fake threat. They only see perceived threat.
Yeah, but I didn't like the way you looked at me yesterday, and I decided I want to,
A report? Great. You can go to report. It will go nowhere. It will die at the first level of control. It'll die there. I mean, if you become a nuisance with it, then the first levels of control is going to look at you.
Okay.
So here are the levels of control. Here's the thought police. First is the Concerned Citizens Network. This is just anyone who the coalition states deems as properly knowledgeable or intelligent. You don't have to be specially trained. You just have to not be an idiot. They can tap you and say, hey, if you see something that you think is strange, you feel your gut is telling you this isn't right, go to this place and leave a dead drop recording right here. That's all you have to do. And then you go about your life. That's it. We got it. And then that's the first level of control.
I had to laugh at this right away. Karen's network.
Yes, it's the Karen's network. And I'm actually glad you said that because that's what this first level of control is. The dead drop handlers are the first level of control to keep the Karens from their crap going forward. It's a Karen filter. That's what the first level is, a Karen filter. The next level of observation is the concerned citizens. These are not just anyone, but these are the people.
We went from the Concerned Citizens Network to just Concerned Citizens?
No. I spoke about the Concerned Citizen Network. The first level is Concerned Citizen, which I already said. These are people that have been tapped. Hey, this is the dead drop location. If you feel something's wrong, pop a recording into here and we'll take it. That's the first level.
Gotcha.
The next level is the street cleaner. These are the people that have been trained to see things, more discerning. They have been trained to differentiate between just stupid mistake or dumbass here to more likely an actual threat. These guys don't have dead drops. They have handlers that they can go to. It passes the Karen filter because these people have been trained to discern already from Karen nonsense to actual bad stuff.
Okay.
So they go past the Karen filter and go right to a handler, and it'll probably go to some kind of administrator. Where is it? Management. Here we go. Management consists of managers/handlers who wrangle the street cleaners. When a specific suspect, target, location, or situation requires closer scrutiny or additional surveillance or research, those instructions go to the street cleaner from management. Other parts of management's job: data analysis and threat assessment that leads to threat response. This is after the Karen filter or from the street cleaners themselves who are trained. Then it goes to management for threat assessment. This is a deep dive into the possible problem.
So this is when taxpayer money really starts getting spent.
Yes. This is when government funds and time actually start being utilized for real. It's past either the Karen filter or come from a trained operative. So now this threat is considered credible, and now it's researched. And after it's researched, it's either abandoned because nope, after further research, this is not something important, or it's kicked up again to administration. It's the administration who does a final threat analysis and passes the intelligence to the appropriate authority best suited to handle it. Regular cops, ISS, which is kind of like the CIA, and NTSET or the CS military, Psy Battalion, military high command, or go straight to propaganda, or even the emperor himself, depending on the level of credible threat. When it gets to this point, it is a credible threat. The administration's job is to pass it on to which branch of the government is most suited to deal with this threat.
Okay.
And then at the very top is the administrator, which no one knows is the actual emperor. Emperor Prosek is the administrator. He is the top dog of the Thought Police division. But no one knows that. Even the administrators below him don't know. They just think of like there's some kind of triumvirate that, makes the final call on some things. No, it's the actual emperor. So there are so many levels and so many safeguards, so many pitfalls are bypassed because it is everything is examined by trained professionals at the very least twice, usually 3 times before action is taken place. So that removes a lot of false positives. A lot. Everyone? No, of course not. No system is perfect. None. Benevolent or otherwise. But so many eyes have been on this, fresh eyes with no bias, that if it actually gets to some kind of enforcement agency, it's a credible threat.
So let's dissect this just a little bit, though. From the outsider's view looking in, obviously we know that the coalition are supposed to be the bad guys, all right? We know that there is a feel around the coalition that they take after the Empire from Star Wars, or a lot of Nazi and even communist, totalitarian communist concepts and whatever. How do I say this? How you say that it stops false positives, but
not all.
I guess my question, but generally speaking, but does it? Because none of those organizations had the false positives stopped. In fact, they were full of false positives. It wasn't even a joke. It was just like all of those organizations, and somehow, whether fictitious or real, everybody was deathly afraid of their neighbors. Kind of like North Korea today.
That's why I like the Karen filter. The very first, the handlers, the very, very first line of defense, is to weed out the bullshit. That's their job. And no matter how scared you are, oh no, my neighbor plays loud music or whatever, it's going to go to a dead drop. And then the handler's going to go, oh my God, Karen, throw it out.
You don't think it goes the other way where it's like, nah, we got this guy. Got to get our quota up.
Well, the thing is, if a handler already has a name in his or her file, and then the name comes up again from, even if it's from a Karen, it might go up because, okay, this is something else with the same person. I need a deep dive into this guy now. You know? So yeah. I mean, if the same person is reporting on the same other person every week or every month, whatever, it's actually going, after time, it's going to lose credibility.
I guess what I'm trying to point to ask / point out at the same time, which however we want to look at that, is that are you putting a spin on this, or is this literally because the coalition, if they're supposed to be the bad guys, I'm not hearing bad guy stuff here.
Well, the thing is, just because they're evil doesn't mean they're inefficient. That's my thing. Even if you think they're evil, doesn't mean their bureaucracy is flawed.
Well, what's evil about them at this point?
At this point, just the whole, accepting spying by your neighbors, that can be considered evil. And I get it. With the lens of us today, that can be considered evil or an overstep. I get it. But so far, that's the only evil part, because every single law enforcement agency has a file on somebody. The FBI has a file on your grandmother. That's the way it works. Now, the good or bad part of a government is how your name gets, what gets in your file. That's the rub. That's where the evil can come in. If you have an FBI file just because you said on a phone call one time that bomb making isn't such a bad thing, with no context, and you got put on a watch list because of that, I would consider that overstepping and an evil regime.
I guess personally, I was kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, so to speak, on here. Where it's like, okay, so that sounds like it's all well and good, but here's what they really do, and they go after people for extortion and money, and
The other shoe is the Manhunter Enforcer.
Okay.
These are the black ops spies. These are the wet work people. This is a threat that has been deemed not only credible, but dangerous enough that it has to be done not only immediately, but in secret. Then they send in the assassin, the Manhunter, against their own people. That also can be considered evil. You're assassinating your own citizens. In America, in the time we live in right now, that is considered an evil act of government. I get it. But taken in the lens of Rifts Earth, this should be a commonplace practice for survival. If you don't have survival, then your high and mighty morals don't mean anything because you're dead. But when the Manhunters come in, that's when this all gets a little dark and gray. Because the Manhunter is when he's called in because of a person or group, that person or group is either going to die or disappear. That's it. These are the black bag people. They're going to kill you or make you gone.
Which again, if you're an enemy of the state, you are perpetuating sedition or treason.
And this isn't a bad thing.
I don't see. I guess that's the point. Like, yes, I'm a freedom-loving American, yada yada, and I do believe in free speech. But I am trying to look at the world in that time. Also trying to look at the historical context of the world at large, not just what we do in America. And if you're using assassination to take out people that actually are bad people, I don't care.
Yeah. And the thing is, if Kevin wanted to make this book about bad guys, he would not have put those systems of control before the black bag people come. There's
right.
There's plenty of good systems of control here before you get a black bag put on your head. Enough to where I'd say it's not inherently evil.
Right. It seems efficient and cold, but I don't see it as evil yet. And and the coalition is purported to be evil. Obviously, yeah, they help humans, blah blah blah, whatever. But there's a lot about it that's evil. But if they're not, basically, if it's not written in there that they're framing people or they do this vindictively and so forth, I don't see any of this as an issue. And I'm starting to actually, unlike you, do this all the time. I'm actually looking at the coalition like, are they really so bad?
Yeah. The thing is, because of the level 1, the Karen filter, because of that, this thing gets a beautiful veneer of credibility. Because the level 1 folk are not read into what the emperor wants squashed, what the emperor wants to promote. They don't have an agenda from on high. Their sole job is to eliminate obviously non-credible threats. Everything else passes up to research department. That's it. That's their only job. And I don't know if the people listening to this know, but most bureaucracies fail because of incompetence. Not because of evil intent. Incompetence. That level 1 takes out the incompetent intel. Well, the majority of like I said, no system's perfect. The majority of the incompetent intel is filtered immediately. And I'm sorry, man, I can dig it. But now is the part where a lot of people will say, nope, here's the Empire. When the CS Manhunter comes along, unlike our government, where the CIA is technically not allowed to operate on our soil, the CS Manhunters are. They will eliminate you or black bag you no matter where you are, no matter who you are. If you've passed through all these filters and are a great and credible threat, you're going to have one of these guys come for you, and you're not going to like it at all. And that's where we end this segment, because the next segment, we're going to actually look at the Manhunters, their special powers, their special abilities, and it's not just one o.c.c. as a Manhunter. No. There are several o.c.c.s. Each Manhunter has a specific specialty. And you as the player, or the game master as an NPC, gets to choose what o.c.c. is what's coming after you, what you can be, all that cool stuff. So we're going to have that in the next episode. But what do we have for starred comments now?
At least, I guess I started 3 of them. What's this one? But he says, the CS studied the videos of the 2020s and saw what college grads look like and said, no books for you.
That's fair. I mean, think of it this way. A post-apocalyptic future, 200 years of dark ages, and then universities start popping up, and somebody has a pre-Rifts, CD or DVD, whatever, of college protests.
DEI
initiatives. And they're like, oh God, we can't make that mistake again. That's exactly what happened. Sorry.
Pete Magnet says, why is Coalition Manhunter such a good book? Because it makes the Coalition a better antagonist or villain. The quality of the villain often determines if the game is good or great.
Yes. I mean, if the Coalition were just evil, incompetent bums, they would not be a good villain. They would not be challenging. That's the awesome part of the Coalition. Sure, they're evil, but they are systematic, they are efficient, and they are ruthless.
That's why I actually like the Coalition better than the Empire of Humanity, because the Empire of Humanity comes off as more cartoonish.
There you go. And above all, they're smart. The Coalition is made, the top brass is smart. Do they make good decisions? No, they make efficient decisions. I've said it before too. If you're playing D&D and you want an administrator for your government, the head administrator, you do not want a lawful good administrator for a government. Your government will fail. You want a lawful evil administrator. You want someone who will be dispassionate in the arbitration of the law. That's a lawful evil character.
Well, lawful neutral.
lawful evil works a lot more by the letter of the law than the spirit, which for government administrator is exactly what you need to ensure impartiality.
Yeah, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one.
Okay.
letter of the letter of the law cannot account for everything, and that's the big
I
problem.
understand, but it accounts for the most. It accounts for the vast majority, and for a large government, that's more important. A lawful good character in charge of a large government, that large government is going to be bogged down and fail because the lawful good administrator is going to try to see the point of view of every single person in the system. That's going to make the government fail. You can't do it. You can't. Chaotic good is even worse because they're going to be arbitrary decisions that will be considered unfair to the vast majority of other people. Case by case basis, shut up. That's not how laws work. Exceptions can be made, but they should be rare. Anyway, go ahead.
The Care Network is also used to help people who are being wronged by other citizens.
Yes. I mean, the whole Care Network thing where you have the concerned citizen, like, oh no, this guy is I saw him, kidnapping a girl from an alley or shaking down a guy for protection money. All that stuff is in there too. Thrown into the dead drop. So yeah, I mean, see something, say something is not inherently bad. It just usually turns bad. That's all.
All right. Well, that was actually pretty interesting because, I other than, for memeing purposes, I don't like to sit here and act like, yay, we love the coalition. They're the good guys. But sitting here like, I've got no beef right now. Sure. Are my American, well, I'm not a libertarian. So, I'm only
American cackles all up in a bunch. Sure. Yeah, I get it. Freedom, whatever. Yeah, I get it. But that's the lens of now. The lens of this world just doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah. Let's at least with this, I'm not seeing them as the bad guys. I'm just seeing them as the guys who have a premise. Whether you go to an Islamic country and you must adhere to the faith and the customs and so forth there, or you go to what are some other countries? You go to Japan. Japan's pretty open in some regard, though. But you have a lot of customs over there that you're expected to do. You go to Singapore. There you go, Singapore. Don't bring drugs into Singapore.
No. Chewing gum, spit in the sidewalk. Shut up, dude. You don't want that.
Yep, don't litter. Like things that, that's evil. Is it evil? Look at their society.
Yeah. Dubai. Come on, Dubai. This one of the safest places on the planet. Are the laws harsh? Yeah.
Don't be caught making out in your bikini.
No, and alcohol? Shut up, dude. Don't do that. Don't have that. But they sacrifice these freedoms and liberty to get the safety that they enjoy. Now, you as a person have to decide whether it's worth it or not. If it's not, move.
That's one thing, and we should end the segment, but that's a very good point right there. I have never heard coalition or evil. Oh, they have skulls on their faces. Oh, they're basically reminiscent of the Nazis or the Soviets or the Empire, whatever. Yeah, I get all that, but I haven't heard about any internal strife. I haven't heard about, the average citizen, even in North Korea, the average citizen's treated like complete
starving
crap.
as hell, it's starving and in an awful environment. The average citizen in an established coalition society has 3 meals a day, a place to sleep, children are safe. All that's guaranteed. And compared to 99% of the rest of the damn planet, that's luxury that is only dreamed of. So, man, I don't know where you're coming.
Isn't one of the bad guy characteristics of the coalition that they dominate and conquer other human nations' kingdoms? I don't call that a bad guy. I call that human nature.
That is manifest destiny is human nature. That's just the way it is. I don't know what to tell you, man. That's just people being people.
Ever since Oog hit Thug in the cave and took his wife out by the hair, dragged her out by the hair, wars have been going on. I don't believe in Age of Aquarius nonsense. So, like wars are there always be wars.
Here's another one. Here's another one. I don't get the lack of education within the coalition. You would think the government will want educated soldiers. No. You don't want soldiers that are educated. You want soldiers that are trained. There's a difference. You want officers that are educated. You want soldiers to shut up, toe the line, and know exactly how to do what the officers want them to do. That's what you want.
You can actually compare that to modern culture where people aren't being educated. They have access to so much information. They think they're smarter than they are, but they are not being educated.
No. Being educated is not just knowledge of any specific subject or knowledge generally. It is the ability to think logically and separate fact from opinion or fact from fiction. If you have that skill, anything that you absorb can now be considered actual knowledge. That's not what's taught nowadays. It's either training or indoctrination. That's what you get.
And for the coalition, they would want both.
Yeah. Soldiers are trained, civilians are indoctrinated. And then you have a society that works. Does it work the way you want? Maybe not. But guess what? Still works.
And all this thing of them taking over other countries or trying to root up magic. When you see magic as the root of everything that broke the world, and you're not wrong, I can understand it. I mean, I don't know what to say, because I sit here and say, no, you shouldn't be taking out people just because they know magic. Because I don't agree with that premise, but I understand it. The world went through 200 years that we barely made it out of. We got weird monsters, and I love this analogy, that can just pop out of the sky, open up the top of your house, pick you up like a snack, eat you, put your roof back down, and then go on to your neighbor's house. And that all was caused by magic. And when things come from other realms, they bring, ideas that are not good for this planet necessarily.
Not even just ideas, more magic, super alien high technology, even diseases.
Yes.
So yeah, man,
you need Uncle Palpatine.
I get the shoot first and never ask questions mentality, because that's how you survive the Dark Ages. Now,
wipe them out, all of them.
Exactly. Now, you can say, "Oh no, well, people are smarter now. People know more. They're more discerning." No, they're not. You're not thinking clearly.
They're more tribal.
You live in a society that is the product of thousands of years of evolution, where anything that was forgotten has already been relearned. And we've built upon the shoulders of our fathers and forefathers. You live in a world where history is only 300 years old. Social structure is only 300 years old at best. This is the natural progression. This is normal now. You know what the emperor is? He's a king. Do you know there was a time on this planet where kingdoms and royalty were common
and actually had power?
Yeah, as the form of government for a long time. That's how it was. It evolved into representative federations, representative democracy, stuff like that. But it came from kingdoms and fiefdoms and stuff like that. Right now, we're at a kingdom again. I think that's pretty good progress. For 300 years, that's awesome. We're already at kings. Awesome. So this is fine progress. This is where we are now. The future is bright. We're evolving faster because we've done it before. We can do it again. We'll get there. Calm down.
They don't belong here. This is not their home.
They are. They're the kudzu of Rifts. They are the invasive species that must be burned out because nothing else can live around them. They choke out everything around them, killing every other life form. That's what they do. That's all they do.
Anyway, let's Please like, subscribe, and share if you like the discussion. Are you a coalition fanboy, or are they evil? And if either way, if you think, you know what, the coalition actually makes some sense, tell us why you think they make some sense. If hey, you guys are looking at this all wrong, the coalition are nothing but evil, black hat, mustache twirling jerks, tell us how. But I'm just going to let you know right now, if you say, because they don't let people read, don't look at the Earth of the 21st century. Look at the Earth as in it was almost irreparably destroyed. It was certainly irreparably damaged or maimed, and you're trying to recover from that. Today's philosophy might not work then. Now, if you think it will, well, see what happened to the Federation of Magic and see how well that works out for you.